Mike. Thank everybody for joining us tonight. You are tuned in to the J.Gerrard show, and you're probably wondering who in the hell is J.Gerrard. That'll be me. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things on this podcast, kind of like a lot of the podcasts you've seen before, but just different angles. We can do real talk. We're going to go from politics to family, whatever we need to talk about in the community. First of all, why are we here tonight? I feel like, us doing podcasts, a lot of people say it's like the trend or the thing that's going on now. I happen to personally believe that it's collective therapy for our community. So, even if you don't have a therapist at this point, you can log in. You may hear something that might interest you, might spark a different idea, a different way of thinking for you, or just help you get through a difficult day. So this is where we come and sit around the table and just kind of talk about what's going on in the community. Now, we're here in Atlanta, but this is not just specifically to Atlanta. This is for the community abroad. Everybody that, feel connected to what you may begin to find out and realize here at the show. So I just, first of all, want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Got two special guests. My guests tonight are two gentlemen from a podcast, The Blueprint. And I'm just gonna kind of throw it to them, let them introduce themselves first, and then we'll go into that. So we're gonna start over here with Anthony.
Right. My name Anthony. I'm a barber, and like he said, we got a podcast called We the Blueprint. You can see us on YouTube at We the Blueprint, on Instagram at We the Blueprint. Go ahead.
I'm Joe, co-host of We the Blueprint with my brother Anthony. We work with this gentleman, try to keep him in line on a daily basis.
Hey, try.
So what we talking about, brother?
Yeah, brother.
Okay, that's it, Joel. Joel and Anthony. Tonight we're gonna start talk about. We started out actually talking about, and I hate to kind of do this. Oh, you can't hear me then. We're talking about the election. That's the most thing. Like he said, Joe said it. We all work at the barbershop, so these are like topics that we go over every day. This ain't no new subject for us. Everybody feel like they feel.
Right.
So we kind of like heard this conversation from every perspective. But tonight, I want to talk about it in the sense of like now that all the hype is over, and either you got the guy you want or you didn't get the guy you want. Like, how do you guys feel as far as I would say the black community, because that's what we identify with. Have we won? Did we make a better move? Was this a good move for us? Or are we positioned better where we were? Because I've heard that argument. Like, at least now you know where you stand, and you got to do and build something for yourself, or we right back into old Uncle Sam's hand, and we back to the trickle down economics.
What I've always said is that what we have to do is try to position ourselves or put ourselves in a position to do well no matter who's in office. So we can't worry about, I mean, of course you have, it's good that we got out and voted.
Right.
I'm not saying that people shouldn't vote, but we can't act like once that person gets in that we're going to be okay.
Right.
We still have to hold them accountable. If they're not doing what they said they were going to do, which in this case, I think we were more so concerned about who we weren't voting for than who we were voting for.
Right.
We were trying to get
somebody
out as opposed to, so it really didn't matter what the other person agenda was. Because really, you think about it, really wasn't no agenda on either side.
Either way.
It's like we just had so much dislike and disdain for this man that we just wanted to get him out.
Right.
So it was really, he really put himself out.
Right.
Anybody could have been in there, and we would have, unfortunately.
Anybody else.
Anybody.
Would have voted against him.
Yeah. So it's doing about who trying to get him out. Okay. All right, cool.
Um, my thing is, I don't think we should have celebrated because we don't know what they're gonna do for us.
Right.
So
Premature.
yeah, it was very premature celebration. But yeah, we in a wait and see process as usual.
Right.
I think Black people just have to come together in general
Right.
in order to make something happen. But like I said, we're in a wait and see. I think everybody should stack their money up and go from there.
I think it could possibly put us, and I want to see what y'all think about this, but I think it could possibly put us in a pacified position because I think under Trump, I've seen people be like so innovative, and I've seen home businesses launched, and I've seen all kind of things happen,
Right.
in the community,
Right. Buy
and
Black.
absolutely, and we back to buying Black and
Yeah.
even spending a little more money
With
but,
Black.
right, with Black,
It's at an
but-
all-time high.
but we're
what I
still
see.
doing it,
Yeah.
right? So now you come out with something, and this is what I'm afraid of. Like you say, we just kind of have to wait and see where the government stands in, and they just start passing out, money, and people get, kind of pacified and go back to the house.
No, I
you
think
know?
we can't get comfortable.
Right.
We still got to put our foot on their neck. Our dollar have to mean something, not just to other Black people, but to ourselves. We still can enjoy life, but we have to put our dollars where our mouth is. We got to put our dollars in other Black people's pockets. Can't worry about how Black people spend their money,
Right.
but it's okay. We gotta support each other.
Right.
That's the main thing.
Okay. And that kind of moves us into the next thing, the Black family structure.
Right.
Because I think basically if you're talking about, revitalizing communities, and we know what that means from the other side, revitalizing communities from the other side mean buying y'all out and fixing the buildings instead of
Right.
helping your situation and helping you maintain your community. So the Black family structure, I think, a lot of this comes from that. You get broken homes, imagine what that leads to. You end up with, the transient situation. You don't have neighborhoods where families are being raised. A lot of people move away from that sense of ownership, that sense of it becomes a more of a independent plight, which is, unfortunately, at this point still without a lot of ownership.
Right. Right.
We just take the money we have and feel like, well, I'm finna go live this independent life and this and this and that. So when you have a community that I think is falling apart, not just on a financial level, I think also even on relationship level. And that's one of the things that, we want to talk about here too. There are a lot of things that happen. There are a lot of dynamics in the family that happen. And you look at the Black community, I don't think you can just look at it without looking at families. And I think in a community, that's what you're going to start looking at first, the families, because families create community, and that is the sustaining force of communities. So the breakdown of Black families, the things that we're buying into, the music that we listen to, the things that glorify all of this stuff outside of, coming together, building with your man, ownership, making a future for your kids. You don't hear none of this shit in the rap, but this is what a lot of us, unfortunately, listen to. And the thing to me is, yeah, it's good music, but when you actually look around and this is the reality, that you see grown people, living for the weekend, to put their outfit on, to go be seen, and there's still no level of ownership. There's still certain levels of, abandonment in the family. You more loyal to showing up at the spot than you are to showing up in your kids or your children's lives. How do you think, or do you think, like that is a intricate part of putting the Black family back together? Because I don't think you can just throw wealth at it. I think it's a little bit deeper than just getting your money back. Getting your money back is a hell of a start. but it goes a little deeper than that, in my opinion. What do you think? How do you think we can get back to that? How do we reconnect?
I think we are getting to it.
Okay.
I think we are getting into it, and you know, you talked about the music. It's a lot of ignorance in the music, but if you look as far as teams or building wealth, to me, a lot of these young guys with, you know, all the entourage and all that, they're building together. Now, I give you a perfect example why people are still talking about it 20 years later. If you look at Rockefeller,
Okay.
you know, those guys were helping each other. They were on each other's backs, you know, giving. Now, when it all fell apart, whether you took advantage of that or not
Right.
was on you.
Right.
But the infrastructure was there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So a lot of those times, you know, these guys, they you know, they have somebody in the front, but the ones around them, if they paying attention and they not, you know, just hanging on, you know, they really want to learn,
Right.
then it's an opportunity for, you know, once them records slow down and
Right.
the fame slow down, for them to be better off than what they would have been before.
Right.
Now, I think they probably build, really, in my opinion, they probably build more than what our generation does.
Okay.
I think our generation is more so stuck on, well, I've done this, you know, and you're not going to destroy whatever I've built up.
Right.
You know, so it's a slow walk. It's a
Right.
process.
I think it was
But
slower
I think
for us though.
I think it's right. But what
Yeah.
I'm saying is, I think is you know, with the internet and
Right.
with more information, you know, now you can turn on a podcast like this one and get the tips from a millionaire.
Right.
You know what I mean? He can tell you front to back how he did it,
Right.
and doesn't mind how he did it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whereas but before, if you was trying to get a meeting with somebody and ask them,
It won't happen.
they would stand off. It's like, oh, you know, it's just room for me. I can't share with you.
Right.
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 You know,
It's a lot more information
right.
being
So,
shared now.
so you know, and you gotta think we've been down and still down for so long. It's gonna take a long time.
Ain't
But
gonna
I
take a
think
long time.
we're more so headed toward it than we were in the past.
Do y'all think we playing the game with them to get the bag, to keep playing their game, or are we playing the game to get our money to build our own?
I think we chasing them, and that's our downfall.
That's the downfall.
Yeah, we got to make our own platform.
Right.
And that goes back into ownership. If we don't own nothing, we steady following.
Right.
So just like our communities, we don't own our communities, so they can come and take over for cheap and sell back to us or kick us out because they raised up the rent or the prices of the homes.
Right.
So it always starts from ownership. And I think it rely on us as men.
Right.
I think if you look around, you see as black people in general, you see black women come together like no other, right?
All the time. Right.
But black men,
We don't do that.
we don't do it. I think that's why we as a people gonna be at a standstill position
Right.
because we not coming together. You know, I know it's egos and all that stuff. We ain't never seen it in our community.
Right.
But till we break that curse,
Right.
I think we gonna stay on this same level until we come together. Because we got all these titles we like to give ourselves, different black men, they lame,
Right.
you know, all that weak
Right.
stuff.
Right.
But if you look around, the
It's a barrier.
so-called, but look around the so-called lame people
Are the ones that's doing
as
good.
winning.
Right. Them the ones you need to talk to.
That's who, but that's who giving all the information out
Right.
too, because
Right.
they done did it or doing it.
Right.
And the ones who try to be hard
Right. Still trying to be hard.
are still trying to be hard, and at a late age too.
But that's true. I think with that, like a lot of brothers, and it's just my personal thing, and I say this all the time. Y'all done heard me say it at the shop. Men go through things. I think we have experiences, and this is kind of getting back to like the family structure. Men go through different things, and we know, first of all, we're not going to therapy. We're not going to even, you know, if you are part of the 2 or 3% out there that do, we're not talking to you. But a lot of us don't go to therapy. We don't talk. We don't process stuff. You know what I mean? And we traumatize. I believe that because, you know, I've been married 15 years. I went through a divorce. And, you know, I mean, 5 years out, traumatic. You know what I mean? You trying to move on, make relations, you know, because you don't, I think men, we choose different. We don't choose a woman based off of, you know, well, she got a good job. She look, you know, pretty secure. You know, that look like a, you know. But we look for somebody that we can really love. Somebody that's more than anything, I need to trust you.
Yeah.
And because if I trust you, I'll give you everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? And with women, it's different. Not saying that it's wrong, not saying that it's higher or lower, but it's different. You know what I mean? And sometimes after you've been through a couple of those, a lot of people don't recognize this as men. Like I've been somebody's choice as they safe and they're secure. You know what I mean? Not their choice for love. Okay. And going forward, if you ain't dealt with that, you're going to run into issues with that down the road because that's what they all are looking for. That's what they all are trained to look for.
Right.
So, I don't know how you come to the middle of the ground of that to kind of make, you know, to balance it off. It's like, okay, well, it's all right to look for security. It's all right to look for that because I think I find myself saying, are you in love with the idea of marriage? You know, because some women get married because they love the idea of marriage. Some women date because they love the idea of marriage and they never get married. You know what I mean? They keep trying every guy and disproving, and that's their trauma. For whatever reason, they caught in their trauma. I think we all really want to, you know, be secure in that way, but we don't.
They live for the marriage, not the wedding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. For the wedding, not the
Right.
marriage.
Or wedding, not
Right.
the marriage. Yeah.
Right.
The marriage, not
Right.
I mean the wedding. Yeah.
Right.
They want to get married,
Right.
but don't realize the work.
Right. The work of it. You know what I mean? And the work of it is the family. You know what I mean? If you starting out and you ain't got no kids, as a challenge of what you want and which direction should we go for our, you know, to secure ourselves or whatever. And then if you have kids, you know, it's how are we gonna raise our kids?
Right.
You know, what are the schools they gonna go to? You know, what I need you to show him as a man, the type of woman I need you to be, you know, and it's kind of hard to deal with all those things if you hadn't necessarily dealt with yourself. I think what we see in the dating realm, and this is just me, since I've been single again, that the standards have changed. I think the standards have changed. I think it ain't Mr. Right no more. It's Mr. Right now. I really think that. I think people are looking for instant gratification.
But do they recognize though?
I don't think they wait long enough to recognize. Man, you can meet a woman in 2 weeks. I heard somebody say in the third date they want to know your intent. You don't know nobody. You not been out with them 3 times. You don't know nobody.
No, not at all.
Take your time. I mean, what's the big rush?
Right.
You get what I'm saying? What's the big rush? We talking about the rest of your life.
I think that's TV, advertisement,
Right.
all that got something to do, music, all that have something to do with it.
IG.
Right.
Yeah, IG.
IG.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
IG.
They
Because
want
in IG, you can see somebody meet their boyfriend and be married, and you know, in a relative quick time.
and everybody's supposed to be happy.
Right.
No
Right.
arguments, no fighting,
None
none
of
of that.
The
None
high
of that.
moments.
Yeah.
The high moments.
Yeah.
And I don't think like that's reality, but a lot of women are watching that and they falling in love with that. And if they love story don't go that way, it's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem. I don't think, and then I was saying this to somebody else. Years ago, just imagine about this. How many couples, you got couples now having arguments over social media.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Years ago, you didn't even have that problem.
Yeah.
So now you got access to so many more women. So if the one that's in the room is boring to you, you can go be entertained online.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's just really creating a dynamic for people that's already traumatized. You know what I mean? I met somebody at the gym, and the guy told me, he said, my wife don't allow me to have social media. And of course, my first thought was, what you mean? She don't allow you? Like,
Right.
What are you talking about? You know? But he went on to express himself and say, hey, I'm trying to raise my sons a certain way and blah, blah, this and blah, blah, that. And to be honest with you, when I walked away from him, I still didn't understand. You know what I mean? But I guess if it's something that you can't handle, if it's something that's too much for you in your situation, then that's a conversation y'all need to have.
Right.
You know, because a lot of people is really getting messed up out here. I know people that are getting caught up, you know, on social media, you know, caught up, caught out, and cut off.
Yeah, I think like anything is, I think social media is like fame.
Right.
You can get addicted. You know what I mean? So people are addicted to social media. People want to see other people's lives, not living their life themselves, or they want to show off for other people for some reason.
Right.
Some people love attention. So, you know, every individual is different.
Addicted to the likes. They know it works.
Yeah.
They know it works.
Yeah. They like people in their DM.
Right.
They want that extra attention, even though they not interested. They just want that feeling
The
that
Steph Curry wife type situation.
Right.
She want the other guy attention. How y'all feel about that?
That's crazy.
That's crazy, ain't it?
That's crazy.
I mean, but just think about it. It's a lot of women. I mean, just think. She was able to say that.
Right.
Some folks don't have to say that. They just keep it going in their DM.
Right.
Well, I saw one. It was a girl that put her husband. I mean, she went live on her phone and her boyfriend, and she flashed him sitting on the couch. He playing video games, and she was like, "Yeah, you know, I go through his phone. He might like a picture. They don't never hit him back. Don't nobody want him." And like, what?
Damn.
Yeah,
So
she
what,
was
she
like,
had
don't
them
nobody
on
want. Yeah, she
putting
was
them
like-
on auction or something.
Yeah.
She was okay, so she showed him like, yeah, this is my man, whatever. You know, he waved at the camera. He's sitting there playing his video game, whatever. She's like, yeah, you know, don't nobody want him. You know, I'll go through his social media. He might like a picture. He don't get no response, and I just don't know if
Damn.
I could be with somebody that don't nobody want.
What?
Like that?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy people out here,
I
man.
don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
She wants somebody
Right.
like her dude,
Right.
which low key somebody could be liking the dude.
But
And
some
you
people dig the drama though.
Right.
Some people know.
But you know what,
Yeah,
man?
that
It's
is
really
true.
sad, man. That's some
No
sad
drama.
shit. When you see somebody that sad that their whole life is connected to
Social
this,
media.
right? To social media in that way. And I mean, we sitting here now on a media platform, you know, having a conversation.
Right.
But y'all, you got to know when to turn this shit
Well, I
off and
think
live your
it-
life.
When I think about people, the kids, when they say, oh, well, such and such was bullied and they committed suicide behind it, or they had all these issues.
Right.
In my mind, coming from an era where I didn't have social media,
Right.
in my mind, I think, well, just don't look at it.
Right.
put
Just
the
turn it
phone
off.
down.
Right.
So you mean to tell me that?
Block them or whatever. else.
Right.
Right.
So you logged on every day.
Just see somebody.
talking about you.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so that would be like, you know, you had a bully. When we grew up, you had the bully, right?
Mhm.
And that would be like walking up to him every day. Walking up to your bully every day
To get punched in the face.
to get punched in the face.
Right.
Nah, that don't make sense.
Why would you do that?
Why would you do that?
Right.
That's
Nah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Nah.
So
But-
I mean, but you know, social media I think started out maybe as like escapism,
Yeah.
but now for a lot of people it's
They
reality.
gone. Yeah, because
Yeah.
they gone.
So they look at it and they really think that that's how
Right.
it's supposed to be.
Right.
You know, so if I don't have X, Y, Z, then I'm not
I'm
Right.
not living.
something wrong with what I'm doing.
Right.
Right.
I'm not making
You know,
it.
oh, I can't
Right.
go to Cancun every,
Right.
you know, 3-4 months, or I can't go here. Or
Right.
I don't have this car.
Y'all better get a
Right.
green screen.
They be counting other people's pockets though, man.
Right.
That's the problem too.
You
That's
can't
the
count
problem.
But
nobody's
another thing
pockets.
too is
That's the problem
you don't realize the work that person did.
Right.
Right.
Right. And
If
that's,
if it's real,
right.
Right.
it may not even be real.
Exactly.
But if it is real,
You don't know what they did.
you don't know what they did.
Right.
And if you did, you wouldn't want to do it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we got
We got to call them.
call. Go ahead, caller. Hello. Go ahead, caller. We can hear you.
Go ahead and call. Hello?
They hung up.
All right.
Oh, okay.
But we appreciate you anyway.
Yeah, call
We
back.
appreciate you anyway.
But before we get too far off that, because you did say something and we didn't touch on it as far as therapy.
Okay. Caller, you there?
How you good? Good.
Okay, go ahead, Joe.
Okay.
Okay.
But what I wanted to say is that while therapy back in the day
Mm-hmm.
was probably something that we may have in our community deemed weak, or something that they do that we don't do.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I think now, people talking about it more openly. The
Right.
celebrities talk about it more openly, so people are more willing to go and now it's like almost like a trend. It's like the end thing to do.
Even in the barbershop, what we
Right.
consider is the man cave.
Right.
You men are opening up. Manly
Right.
men are opening up about going to therapy.
Right.
So, I never seen that 5-10 years ago starting in the barber business. So
Right.
hearing and seeing it now is totally different.
And believe, if anybody ever need therapy or have been traumatized,
Right.
we are constantly traumatized. Okay,
Right.
if you live in the United States of America
Yep.
and you are not European and I don't mean this because I know we got all kind of I don't mean it no kind of way. You know what I mean? But sometimes you have to address the issue right where it's at.
Right.
And that kind of go like to the Black Lives Matter thing. And I don't even want to get into that. Sometimes you just got to say, this is what we talking about.
Right.
This community right here.
Right.
And I think that's, I think that it's just time to do that. We can't just keep, how are we going to fix the country? Okay, well, like you said, we got to figure out how we going to be okay no matter who's in the White House.
Right.
And that goes beyond, okay, get your money and then learn what to do with your money. Are you going to build? Or you just going to go out here and be, another person in the club throwing money on the floor?
But we got to remember, we can't build by ourselves.
Exactly.
So it got to be group. Yeah, it got to be group economics.
Absolutely.
So and also take a village. Everything starts with a village.
Right.
Your child need to be in a village.
Right.
As an adult, you need to have that village.
Mm-hmm.
It always a group. You need to come together.
You need to connect to.
Yep.
And you know what?
But you see it with every other culture.
Right.
Every other race.
Right. I think that's some of that Jim Crow, man. It was broke down. You don't supposed
course.
to, don't look
Of
at him because he
course.
might be telling on you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that comes with that. Did you say what you get into what you were saying about therapy?
No, I said it. I was just saying
Okay.
that we're starting to do that.
Yeah.
That now is the thing to do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're gonna go from that to this. Okay. The role of the black man. Okay. We went into the family situation. We didn't touch on sisters. We let y'all live. Okay. We let y'all live.
So far.
Right, so far, because, and you know what, sisters, I take that back, okay, because we might gonna get into y'all right here, because this is where we run into the sisters,
Right.
the role of the black man in the community. When we actually stand to be a man, isn't it amazing where the opposition comes from?
Right.
Do you feel that way or no?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And why is that?
I don't know. I wish I knew.
Right.
Is
You'd
that
be a millionaire. You come up with a book on that.
right?
Right.
Like, why is that?
I don't know. I think you talk about family. Women want men to be the provider.
Be quiet.
Basically, that's it.
Basically, that's it.
Yeah.
Right.
But say you're talking about finances.
Okay.
Well, babe, we want to get here, so let's do this
Mhm.
at this point.
Right.
And then later on down the line, we'll be straight.
Mhm.
No, they don't want to do that.
Right.
Not all.
Right.
I ain't gonna say
Right.
not all,
Right.
but I'm just giving you an example of, you want me to lead,
Mm-hmm.
but when I lead, you don't want to.
Can you
Follow.
follow?
Right.
Can you follow?
Right.
Yeah, and I ain't talking about submission and all that. You
Right.
submit to each other. I ain't talking about that. I'm just saying,
Right.
we need to be on one accord.
Right.
Shay Davis.
Right. Shay. Yep. You on live, Shay?
Ooh, you talking my talk.
I'm talking your talk. Talk to us. What you got to say on this? We talking about the role of the man in the house and how we running into this opposition. So it's good to have a sister on the line. What you got to
Ooh, wee. Oh, man, this thing gonna get hot now, okay?
Hey, we ready.
Come on with it. Come on with it.
Let's break it down this way. Any woman of substance is going to naturally want to take care of her man. So I'm going to tie this back into the last few things that you guys were talking about social media and all that stuff. But naturally, a woman of substance is going to just want to nourish her man. That fuels him to go and be the provider that he is naturally supposed to be. You guys were groomed, you were born, you were created to be our providers and our protectors.
Right.
So when you stand and you do your job and you manage your role, that also fuels your woman to nourish you, or it should. Let's say it should. See, we've gotten so far.
But what if you working
away from
too?
what
I mean, what if she a working woman and it's a 9-to-5 situation and she ain't just sitting home folding your laundry and she got her whole career?
Motherhood and being wives and girlfriends.
Okay, well, you know. Okay.
So why can't you want to equally meet your mate where he is, or at least, you know what, take the edge off.
Right.
Do your part.
Right.
We are supposed to be the ones to, you know, make sure that you have an environment where you can relax and take a load off.
Right.
Where you from?
Right. I was going to
Where
say.
you
I'm
from?
from Atlanta.
Right out.
I'm from
Okay.
Atlanta.
Okay.
Right out the history book. We need.
So the way that you feel, your girlfriends that you hang around, your small inner circle, do they feel the same way that you do?
Yeah.
Right.
See, that's the thing right there. Can't nobody sit with me.
Oh, okay. So you,
yeah.
Right,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
You sounded like a unicorn.
Yeah.
You know, here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. I am yearning
Okay, speak up a little
to
bit,
be
Shay.
in the company of like-minded women.
Right.
Speak up, Shay.
But it is hard when you're so rooted.
Right. Can you hear me, Shay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, if you can speak up just a little bit more.
Okay.
Okay.
What about now?
Okay. We want to make you sound like you're yelling, so we can go with the angry. No, I'm
Does
just
it
joking.
sound
Go
like
ahead.
I'm yelling?
No, I'm
No,
just
no,
joking.
no.
Go ahead. We can hear you now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because I'm so rooted,
Mm-hmm.
I ain't got no friends.
Wow.
Wow.
Right.
Isn't that fucked up?
Right.
You don't have no.
I'm sorry, lady.
Wow.
Right. Why is that though?
But
Why
isn't
is
that
that?
crazy?
It always
But
it is.
Here's the
When
thing.
you
Here's the thing, though.
mm-hmm.
The women, and when I speak from a loving place, man.
Right.
I speak from a mentoring place, from an encouraging, uplifting place. I'm not here to sound as if I'm above the law. You know, I want to see my sisters with some good shit. Like, let's get back to what we supposed to be. All of this stuff that we go on and we complain about, these things were created to be distractions, to tear our households apart, to break up our families.
Right.
And it's getting the result that it's getting because that's the way it was seeded.
Right.
So this is just a product of the seed that was sown to destroy us in the first place.
You're absolutely right. But you know what? You just made me think of something though. Okay, so at this point, like you said, you don't have any friends because you done come to this new knowledge and this new information. Right. Is that because you decided to get out of the rat race I think, and this was just what I was thinking listening at you, and I feel like a lot of that, and guys say this all the time, the women ain't dressing up for you. They dressing up to be sharper than the other chick that's going to be at the spot.
Yeah.
So men are kind of like the casualties of all of this. So it's like when you decided, you know what, I know who I am. I'm tired of competing with all these chicks. You were able to calm down and, sit down. I ain't going to say calm down, excuse me. You was able to, to settle yourself into where you are right now. Do you think that's, could any part of that be true? Or, I mean, because I really, as a man, I think what we try to understand is where we fit in at. And a lot of times it feel like that, you know, we're outside of the equation, you know. So do you think
Like you're not feeling
exactly
nothing that's crazy. You are outside of the equation.
right?
Women look nowadays. Women are simply those women that are out there. Well, first of all, before we go into that, let me go back here real quick.
Okay,
See, all of that you said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be speaking from experience because I've just hosted myself at a certain level
okay,
that I've required to keep company with a certain standard of people.
okay,
And when I say that, I'm not saying that, again, I'm above the law. I'm saying that I have a standard of care. And that type of thing, I want nothing but
right,
good vibes and that type of energy around me. Therefore, I can't host company with people that aren't inspired to move ahead and get along and do something greater and be positive and optimistic about life.
right,
You know, I just can't be around the negative Nancy's, the woe is me, the
right.
damn, oh my God. Like, I can't do that. That
Okay.
is the way. So I don't fit in a lot of places. That ties into the next thing that I was going to say.
Okay. Let me ask you this
So,
real quick before you get into that.
uh-huh.
If you mind sharing your status? Are you married, single?
Very married.
Very married. Okay, so
Newly
you
newly married too.
and newly married. So married with asterisk and quotation. Right. Did how did all of that work for you before the marriage? Were you in the same mindset?
Wait,
Did you have
repeat that,
friends?
because I didn't catch it.
Did you have friends and all of that before marriage? Was this something that happened as a result of marriage? You being, you know, in the place that you are right now, or did it happen prior to marriage? Did you have girlfriends before marriage, or did that separation happen and then you?
It's interesting, man. It's interesting because it's been both. It's been
Okay.
both.
Okay.
It's been both.
A
It's
process.
almost like so what I was going to say initially when this thing has gotten all over the place at this point. What I was going to say initially about the friendship.
Mhm.
There are women around me
Mhm.
that I have loved damn near my whole life
Mhm.
that always find themselves in a place of, damn, I wish I was her, and almost create this enemy mirrored image of me so that they can have a reason to be mad and not fuck with me just
Wow.
because they don't know how to embrace and celebrate what it is that's happening to me. It's crazy.
Mm.
And so I've lost friends. I've lost close connections with women because of my growth in general, not because of the marriage.
Right.
However, I've also lost friends and relationships because of the marriage.
Right. And that, you
So
know,
it's been on both ends.
so that sounds like a frenemy type situation. What you just
It's
described.
almost like, yeah, absolutely. There's like this thing that has been seeded, you know. I always hear people when we cross paths sometimes is, you know, you're on your new enlightenment and you just feel invincible.
Right.
If that's how I make you feel and I haven't spoken to you and you're only watching me on social media,
Right.
if you can't handle that, I know you don't need to be nowhere around me.
Right. Okay.
You got something in you that just ain't, you know. So I'm good in the space we're in.
Mhm.
And I've had to adapt, and it's been very hurtful for people to not be able to embrace. And when I say people, my sisters, my, you know, people, again, that I've had very, very long, extended relationships with,
Right.
not be able to be here with me in the moment where it matters the most. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So how do you cross
it's
that?
been crazy.
Right. Okay. So how do you cross that? I mean, and this is just like looking back in the sense of, you know, going full circle and healing, not just as a person or individual, but as a community. Because what I'm hearing is like, you know, you went through a process and you've arrived in a new place in your life. But how do you bridge that gap between where you are and those women that are on the other side that are seeking the same things, but they're still caught up in that frenemy situation where it's not about the man, it's about me beating out the sisters?
each of us, you know, men and women,
Mhm.
we have to allow ourselves to be honest with ourselves. And if you don't pick that apart and make it as deep as it really is,
Right.
you'll be stuck where you are. You won't move.
Right.
So you have to be able to really just tell yourself the truth. How do you see this? What do you want? You know, what do you really want to do? What do you really want to achieve? Like, are you living as you supposed to be? Or are you, you know, what are you willing to do? You have to be willing to shed a new skin in order to develop yourself. And in order to develop yourself, you have to deal with the things that are seeded that cause insecurities for you or uncertainty. And in those places, you've got to be okay with going back and seeing your shit.
That's true.
When you do that, you can create a whole different level of confidence that will affect how you interact with people that you're supposed to interact with moving forward. Remember, everybody ain't supposed to go everywhere we grow. So you have to shed people as you go. We have to learn to start respecting expiration dates when it comes to relationships. We have to stop trying to be in control because at the end of the day, we're not. We only make a mess of things.
Right.
You know, so you have to really be able to stand in the pain and see your shit.
Right. Good points. Excellent points. So, fellas, back to thank you, Shay, for your input. The role of the black man in the community. Now, and I'm going to say this because we all come from, you know, we all in the community, we all work in the neighborhood. We all work together from day to day, from time to time. We see different situations, different people. We have another call. Oh, is it? Okay. Go ahead, caller.
We got disconnected. I don't know what happened. Sorry.
Oh, okay. But as black men in the community, this is what we getting back to, this part of the conversation about black men and taking their role in the community. And what I was saying is we are in the community, and I hear what you're saying on that end of you know, as far as sisters are concerned. Okay.
Again.
Can you hear me?
Can you cut your TV down?
Yeah.
But we're talking about, want to get back to talking about the role of the black man in the home, and you know, just listening at some of this stuff, some of the statements and some of the points that you brought out tonight, Shay, it really, like you said, I mean, we started off in the most powerful thing you said is when I, you know, made the point that sometimes men we feel like we outside of the equation, and you agreed. For me, it was confirmation because I've always felt like, you know, sometimes when you see this going on, you realize like it's that has nothing to do with the man. Like that has nothing to do with the man, but the man is, you know, at the end of the night, at the end of the day, or the end of the whatever it is, supposed to be the accomplishment, you know. And I think that that's scary too, because we living in a day where, you know, thank God we got the most progressive woman on the planet. You know what I mean? The black woman.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't, or we should not be considered another accomplishment in the sense of things that you just go get,
Mhm.
you know, for an appearance. And I think, you know, this is the kind of conversation that you have to really understand what it is. Because, yeah, you can go get married, but if you don't understand marriage, you might not be married long.
Right.
You know, if you don't understand what it takes to work through those difficult times, if you don't understand that, you know, most of the days that y'all had together are not going to be Instagram days. You know what I mean?
Listen,
Just for
first
some
of
people.
all,
Right.
Look,
Right.
this shit is really 1 + 1 for real.
Right.
I promise it's ABC 1, 2, 3. First of all, again, go back to what I just said. You have to be okay with accepting what you are. Number one. Don't you know that is the hardest thing to ever do?
Right. And you're saying accepting what you are as what? You speaking to the woman or as what are you speaking to? You disconnected. Okay.
Call back, Shay.
Yeah, but I don't know if she's speaking to the man or the woman and recognizing, you know, who or what you are. But for me, I think a man knows. Shit, you know when you're going into a situation, because it's different. If I'm coming in, and that's my whole thing, and I mean, somebody tell me if I'm wrong, but okay, and I mean, you know, I ain't here as the expert, okay? They might be.
I'm an expert.
Okay, he the expert. Okay, but I mean, is it wrong for me to look at you in that way? Because then you get real personal. Well, you say, okay, well, what are you looking for in a man? Okay, I ain't that none of your characteristics. I'm looking for, and listen, it's okay. I want my daughter to answer this, but she got to be ready for somebody that might answer what I might say. Security, and this and this and that, and you know, all I hear, I mean, basically is don't no man want to get with nobody and suffer. Of course, you should, and that's the thing. You should pay attention long enough to know what type of man you're dealing with. These are just my opinions. If you don't like them, you can call in and we'll talk about it. But take enough time to figure out what type of man you're dealing with. You know, stop being in a hurry. You know what I mean? Because it could be somebody that you like, somebody that you might find attractive, somebody that on the surface look like, you know, they got all the bells and whistles. But what if they don't manage their money right? You just seeing the car they drive. You don't know if they struggling to make that note or not.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So if you just looking on the outside and you looking on the Instagram and you looking at how they spending their money, you know, and you saying I'm looking for security. So it got to be something deeper than that.
Yeah.
It got to be something deeper than that. I don't see, you know, at this point in my life, and maybe it's because I'm in my 40s. I don't know. Maybe young people still just look at bling and jump in. I don't know. But it got to be something deeper than that.
Right.
You know, for a marriage.
Right.
Yeah, you have to be careful because some people that will say, "Oh, well, I want to be with somebody that can, you know, I don't have to stay. I can stay at home. I don't have to work.
Right.
We can go on trips together. You know,
AKA sponsor. No,
right.
just-
But what I'm saying is, you know, you can.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Some women will have a man. He provides everything for
Right.
him, but he's never there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And then one woman will have somebody a man that's always there,
Right.
but then she don't have. She
Right.
feel like she ain't got
Right.
everything else. You know what I mean? Where she looking at this other lady that has everything,
Mm-hmm.
but this other lady has everything lonely.
Right.
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 You know what I mean?
Right.
Because he's always gone.
Right.
So you really have to, like you say, you really have to decide what you really, really want.
Right.
You know, and make it realistic.
Right.
You know, I'm
Right.
not trying to, you know,
Right.
crap on nobody's dreams or whatever and tell you that you know you need to lower your standards or
Right.
anything else. But I'm saying be
Be
realistic with it.
Right.
Right.
You know, if a man, you know, is making $200,000-$300,000 a year and he driving the nice whips,
Right.
he live in a nice area of town
Right.
and all that, and you over here working at,
That's not different.
Right.
you know, you working at entry level at the bank.
Right.
What do he want? What does he want with you?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Hello?
Hey, caller, are you there?
Hello.
Yes. How you doing?
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Is the J.Gerrard show still going on?
Yes,
Yes.
it is. How are you? Who is this? How can?
Oh,
It's a bias.
okay, I'm on.
Yes,
Yeah,
you are
you're
on.
What's your comment?
Awesome. It's just a comment, guys. And maybe because I heard Gerard.
Oh,
say
this
he
is
did
my
his
beautiful
40.
sister. I just
I'm
caught
in
her
my
voice.
50s.
That's your
Right. Go
sister?
ahead. This is my very beautiful sister, y'all. But you know, we family, so we'll fuss on the mic or whatever. It ain't stage. Go ahead, Phyllis.
So I'm going to tell you, it's a generational thing as well,
Mhm.
because in my generation coming up, you know, a lot of we had our older women, we had our older moms. The moms weren't out in the club. Mothers were being mothers.
Right.
And so mothers taught daughters, listen, you're a pride.
Right.
And you're not, you go out and you get your own trade. A woman needs to know how to do more than one thing.
Right.
So women
per se, in my generation, we went after our careers and we worked hard, and so nowadays I'm looking at the younger generation. It's not like, let me get someone to help build with me. It's more so, he got to have this. It's
Right.
just a whole different
Bunch of shit. Listen. I feel like, and this is honestly what I think, and I just want to say this: if you're a woman out there and that is really what you want, don't pull no real man into your shit. Like, if that's what you want to do, if you want to just be out there chasing the Instagram, you know, with the matching outfits, and now you know what I mean? Every week we got to post, we at the club again, and all this type of stuff. I mean, that's cool. Live your life. I'm not hating on you. But don't pull no real man into that, because like the last caller was saying, a lot of women, it's a competition, I think, with this younger
That's
generation.
crazy. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're pulling real men into it. And then when it don't work out, you know, then you both end up in trauma.
Right.
You know?
Well, yeah. And what's happening is, and not just, I don't think a real man, I mean, maybe for a moment he will be kind of distracted by it.
Right.
But a real man is going to say, hold up, baby, calm down, calm down.
Right.
I need to see you in all seasons.
Right.
People spend more time, women, and I mean, people spend more time planning for a wedding than they do for the life that they're going to have afterwards.
Right.
I got
And
a
that
homeboy
is-
that I spent more time planning weddings than he had been married.
Right.
I mean, this
There you
man
go.
marries up.
It's cereal.
And
A
then
serial
they're
marriage.
People jumping brooms with somebody that they have not seen in all seasons.
At
How
all.
are you when things aren't going so well?
Right.
I need to see you not just in the springtime. I
Right,
need to
or
see
in
you
the
winter.
ambiance of all this food we out here buying and all these little trips we buying and all these.
Yeah.
Right. I need to see you
How
where
are
we had to
you
eat
when
hot
it's cold?
dogs. Right.
Huh?
Hey, Phyllis, can I ask you a question?
You asked me a question. Yes.
This is Joel. I'm your brother's something like a mentor to him. But
Right.
now you mentioned when you were younger, the older generation, some of the things that they told you to do. Was there anything that you can think of that maybe was passed along that wasn't correct, or anything that you feel like you maybe had to unlearn from an older generation?
That's a good question.
I'll say to you this: whatever I did get, anything I've learned from the older generation, if it was not applicable for me to utilize in my life, it kind of fell off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
but
good.
I did take some things. I took a lot of things.
Yeah.
From my mom, like i.e., I mean, I'm married, and just because it's COVID and people working, everybody working in the house, that don't mean you don't get up and fix your hair, baby.
Right. Right.
Oh,
Right.
yeah, that's that generation.
Right. That's the generational thing, ain't
You
it?
don't go out in the house shoes.
Right.
and
But
roll-
then when they ready for you to take them out, they got lashes and
Right.
all types of stuff. But I got to be at home with you looking like the mom.
Right.
No.
Look good
Right.
for other
I
people.
mean, he
Right.
did like the smell of
Right.
a woman, and it just so happened he stuck with just you in the house. Now, put your smells on.
Right. Right.
You know, let there be food cooked. I mean,
Right.
do what you got to do at home, and then you don't have to worry about all this other stuff. You
Right.
really, really don't.
Right.
And if you do, you know, there's
Right.
always a God still, you know.
Right. And see, you know
You
what?
work it
This
out.
is kind of like what the last caller touched on, I think, because when she was saying how a lot of the younger women, as long as you out there competing with another woman, that ain't got nothing to do with your man. And you know what I mean? Like I say, as far as they ain't, you know, you ain't combing your hair till you go out because you don't want the other lady to look better than you. You know, or you don't want your man to look at the other lady, but when he at home, you don't care what your head look like. You know what I mean? So it's that kind of thing that, you know, I think have to be pointed out and say, look, if you serious about getting out the game, you got to get out the game. You got to stop competing
you
with a
know-
lot of women, and guys do it too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
do it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we
Yeah,
call it.
guys
I know
do
back in the
too.
day we used to call it driving up the price of dating. you know,
Mhm.
because you got guys out here, they going to spend a lot of money and this and that to get, you know, okay, well, that's
Yeah.
cool. But, you know, you throwing stuff in the face to hide your hands.
Mhm.
You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And you see that all the
Yeah.
time. You know, I've had some situation where I'm look at a person, I'm like, dang, man, you doing all that? You know what I mean? And
Wow.
this ain't even the
Yeah.
one. This ain't even a chick.
Right.
But you got to throw something out there to keep the smoke screen going, you know? It's like,
Wow.
man, y'all are just making
Yeah.
it hard than just going out and being who you are and being genuine. Whatever
Yeah.
happened to that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is just awesome that you guys are sitting down having this conversation. I was talking to my other brother, and he was just really commending this program. He's like, because men don't have a place.
True.
I mean, men need somewhere to voice
Right.
their feelings
Right.
and how they feel. You know, women, we get together on our Zooms and we chit chat. We
Right.
have, you know, sip parties on Zoom. Men
Right.
don't do that stuff.
Right. And we know
So,
when it ain't about us. We know.
Right.
All these
Yeah.
these clothes we get up and put on and go sit at the table with your friends that we probably don't like and all this kind of, I
Yeah.
mean, it's all good. You know, live your life, baby, you know, but, you know, keep it
It's just a
100.
different day.
Right.
Right. It's a different
It's
day.
a different day.
It really is. It really is.
And authenticity now, I mean, golly, I don't want to say you guys' generations, but the younger generations, it's kind of like, what can you give me? What can you bring to me? And kind of relationships of convenience, or what can I get? It's just different now. It's
Right.
different.
It's a whole different world.
Mhm.
It's like, you know what? If you ended up talking about dating, that's a whole nother show by itself. You can never get
Yeah.
around
Oh,
to
my
what we
God.
done about the politics, the community. We'll never get around to none of that other stuff because there's so much more stuff these days. And I feel like as soon as you get close to halfway trying to figure out who you are, they add 3 more categories just to keep you off tilt and then make it all seem like it's all okay.
Right. Right.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
where people don't know which way to go. You know, it's I definitely think, you know, that there's something sinister behind it. I think it's destabilizing, and this is just coming back full circle. It's destabilizing in communities, you know, and when you find a community that is most affected by this, then you can kind of figure like, okay, well, this is where the change should start. And what I see, I think in the Black community, us chasing things and labels, and there's nothing wrong with, you know, pursuing financial security at all. But, you know, if you're seeking it just to go buy labels with somebody else's name on it, instead of, you know, putting your own label out, I think your thinking might be wrong. You know,
Yeah.
you got to think generational.
Right.
And I think like if we can solve this issue between the woman and the man and we can get this together, we can begin to build generational wealth. But it will not happen if, you know, you got a home that's being led by a woman, you know, irregardless of the man, or the man irregardless of the woman. It has to come together. I believe that you know, that union is divine,
Right.
you know, and it matters,
Right.
you know, how we conduct ourselves in it.
Absolutely.
That's good stuff. Good stuff. I'm telling you, back, and I don't want to go too far back in the day, but if I can leave anything with anybody that's listening in, I would say both man and female, slow it down. Slow it
Right.
down.
Right.
See these people in all seasons. Listen. Slow down. Get
Right.
to know them. Bring them around your folks.
Mm-hmm.
Don't leave your folks out. That's your life. They're part of your life.
Right.
And I'll say in my situation, man, I had to spend we were around my husband's family. He made sure me and his sister was cool.
Right.
Me and Dad loved that. So by the time, before we walked down the aisle, I was thinking, man, if we don't work out, which I hope we do, but I'll get done.
Right.
I can't see myself without being cool with the sis.
Right.
Now we're a whole big old family now, and
Right.
the stakes are higher.
Right.
So,
You know what? And I think that's important to hear because you still got, you know, people running toward marriage, but I think I think it's for the aesthetics, and a lot of people, So it's good to hear, and it's kind of good to remind people that, there's genuine purpose for this. Marriage is not just, I choose this person to, I want to lay with the rest of my life. This, there's a purpose, a designed and a divine purpose, I believe, for marriage. And since we are in the sense of community, we come in with the voice of community tonight. That is something that we should discuss. It's in our benefit, and I always say this at the shop, to brothers. It's in our benefit, man. When we grow up and can encourage the players in the shops and on the streets and on the blocks to be responsible about how you handle the sisters, man, because this is gonna affect our community.
Right.
If you break that sister, that's gonna be one more broken sister out there that is gonna make bad decisions concerning her kids, if she have any, or concerning her next choice of man. And we may have put that sister in a cycle of trauma. So we all have a responsibility, and I don't think, like the same way they said with this Black Lives Matter, your silence, it makes you, you implied to be with it if you're silent about it. You can't be silent. It's the same thing that happens, and I'll say this, and this is on a very personal note. One of the reasons I decided to talk out and to speak out, and this is very personal, is I grew up in a home that physical violence, spousal abuse was there. And I just think it's interesting that I remember being a kid and I went to the barbershop. I was in the barbershop and it was a joke. The guy was telling a joke, but I'm a kid. And, the guy was telling a joke. One guy said, hey, man, I went out and had too much to drink or whatever. And I got into bed and say my old lady wait till about 3:30 in the morning to wake me up to tell me to take the trash out. So everybody in the shop got to laugh, why she wait till 3 o'clock? He was like, man, she knew I was drunk, And one of the other guys, the barber's in the shop, opened his mouth and he said, I wouldn't usually tell nobody to do this, but if I were you, I would beat my wife. Now, as a child, that impacted me. And here I am 40 years later, can still tell you that story, can still feel the way it made me feel, because in that moment, that was my reality at my home. And nobody knew that. And it broke me that somebody I was looking at as a man said it. And the reason I'm sharing this is because I think it's important for all of us. We don't think that, we feel powerless in this world that we live in, which is the biggest lie. There's plenty of power in you. You don't believe it? Open your mouth and start saying good morning to people and watch how you can change a room. Watch how you can change an environment. But to speak truth when we see things go awry, to be, and this is my call, and this is why, and I thank God I don't believe I ended up in the barbershop business by accident. I don't. And, and we have these kind of conversations. These guys work at the shop with me all the time. We have to change the narrative, and it is not just what we say. I was watching another show, I believe it was the Manish Show, and they were talking about, the young boys and the this and the that. And the biggest thing was they're not listening to y'all. They watching you. Mm-hmm. So if you acting like you're afraid of them and you won't step out and make the difference, or at least let truth be known, like, look, fellas, I don't know if y'all know. Crazy. Say what? They think you crazy. No, they are different. They are different. Right.
I don't think so.
You don't think it's like that?
Nah. But they was doing it in my day though. I'm 37. They was carrying pistols.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying younger.
I'm 37, man.
Right.
I ain't gonna lie. I was carrying pistols around the same.
50.
Right. What do you say? You 50?
But my thing is, I was kind of doing the same thing. So.
Right.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, you have your hard heads out there, but if you can,
yeah,
you got something that you can talk to.
We have to do what we can.
Right. But
you have to. You can't come at them at a preachy
Right.
You got to let them do what they're gonna do, and just kind of ease it kind of into, and eventually they're gonna start coming to you more.
Right.
Be like,
Right.
dang, I remember you told me this, because
I
in
done
the
had
barbershop,
that.
it's all time. I had a guy come to me one. I hadn't seen him for a while.
Somebody calling.
I hadn't seen him for a while, and he came in, and he was like, "Man, I've been locked up." And he said the whole time that I was locked up, all I could hear was you telling me. He's like, the last time I came to get my haircut, I got locked up that day. He said, and all I can remember you tell me, man, be careful out here. He's, so your words have impact.
Right.
Mhm.
It's just really in how you approach it. Now, like I said, you can't reach everybody.
Right.
Right.
That's old or young. You can't reach everybody.
Right.
18.
Right.
Right.
And we
Yeah,
have
you
to
can't
start
reach
smashing like some of this
Yeah.
foolishness that you hear, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
some of them, some of them you can reach from the first time.
Right.
Some of them you can't reach
Yeah.
till
Right.
the 100th time.
Yeah.
Some of them you ain't never gonna reach.
But if you know you got a short fuse, you gotta leave the young boys alone.
Right. But I done told young boys they whole
Right.
life what they was gonna do, and they did exactly what I told them to do.
Right.
Because you can
What
see
they was
it.
gonna do, I can see
You
it.
can see it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Ain't fooling nobody.
Nuh-uh.
We had a caller?
No, you good.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, I thought we had another caller.
Oh.
But I was back to the point that I was trying to make, brothers. We got to tie this thing up, man. We really do. It ain't about the sisters. Okay, sisters, we know y'all got the bag, and we know y'all think the bag is gonna change. The bag ain't gonna change nothing.
Nope.
We got to change this, all right? Yeah. The bag's in the baby. Right. The bag is the baby.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The women nurture them.
But I think
The nurturing.
But
Yeah.
It's too bad.
Yeah.
the black women is following the white men in the sense of the bag.
Right.
I'm talking about the women nurture. They nurture them boys too bad, man.
Oh,
Oh,
that
they
too.
baby in the
Oh,
boys.
baby the boys. Yeah.
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 We see it all the time. at
Well,
the barbershop.
I mean, it's really nothing wrong with the woman. That's in her nature
Right.
to nurture. But the problem is when the man is not there at all.
That's
Right.
what I
You know,
was
like in
about
my
to get
house, if my mom was the nurturer,
Right.
for certain stuff I knew I could come to her.
Mhm.
For certain stuff I knew I'd come to my dad or whatever.
Right.
So she didn't have to be tough with me
Right.
to. Right.
because it was
He
a balance.
had a balance.
It was
right.
both of them.
That's a good point.
But a lot of these mothers,
Yeah.
it's going to be either or. Either they're going to be too lenient, too nurturing, or they're going to be too hard
Right.
because they feel like they got to be the man.
Right. And then if you're not the father, then don't, the
You know
child
what?
is protected and they know that.
You know, I know what I say. This disco talking about the way. I always tell women, I don't understand how you raise a boy to be that way, but you won't deal with a man that way.
Right.
Like if you ask a woman right now what she looking for in a man, she'll tell you what she looking for in a man. But what she raising,
It's an opposite.
opposite.
Right.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
right. Somebody who, right. You
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Right.
Yeah.
You absolutely right.
But is it broken homes that cause this on that level?
Is it the broken homes?
Yeah. From
Again, the woman won't let the man be the man.
but
It's that too. Look, I was about to go and say, well, lick
but how long the
blame it on crack.
in our neighborhoods it is crack.
It is crack.
It
I mean,
is heroin.
But right. But, we
But
gotta
all
move-
that
that's a constant now. We can't keep saying
but
it happened, but we can't keep saying it. I
but
mean,
look how many people still locked up over crack to this day.
that's true.
I don't hear about dope.
I'm
Right.
talking about to this day from the 90s, people still locked
Right.
up. From the
From crack.
90s?
Right.
That's 30-some years.
Right.
Right.
And now it's legal.
right.
Yeah, weed they
I'm
locked up.
still locked up. Now
Right.
it's legal.
Yeah. And that's crazy. That's on another level.
But yeah, I think it is. I
But-
think it is.
But how
broken.
do we as black men come together? Because if you see the black women coming together, how do we evolve and come together?
That's a great question. Isn't it? Might be three-way. We have a caller. How do we come together? I think the first thing we have to do is go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Elijah. What's up, Elijah?
What's up,
Welcome
man?
to the
Man, I'm listening
J.Gerrard.
to y'all
Family
talking.
Yeah, family.
Yes.
reunion.
I was just thinking, I'm hearing everything, and I'm enjoying
Mm-hmm.
the podcast, but I just want to throw my two pieces in there. I think the man, when you were saying the black man in the community, you hit on it, and I was trying to get in. I couldn't get in before, but one of the things for the black man is He just got to grow up and be a man. Grow up and be that man.
Right. Man.
He gotta own the ground he walk on. And when I say that, I mean he gotta own his identity. He gotta be true to himself.
Right.
I think it starts with the man.
Let me ask you this though.
A woman looking for guys that know who they are, know what they want. Most of the time, and we grew up in houses where, our thing was to go out there and hit many girls as you can, go through them, knock them down.
Right.
But when you grow up and you get into the sense of this is what I want and this is who I am, and I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do this, you gotta draw some lines in the dirt.
Right.
And be that dude. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have some kind of integrity about how you move and who you moving with. I mean, I can speak on me. Me personally, a lot of chicks I could have went through, but at the end of the day, I didn't. Half of the time, I didn't want the support. I didn't want to have to sponsor these chicks. And maybe I was too cheap. But I was just looking for a certain type of woman that wanted something. But the only way you're gonna know that is when you grow up and know what you want.
That's true. That's true.
And I just wanted to throw that out there now. Sound like somebody wanted to ask me something.
Yeah. For myself, I grew up in the crack era. So I grew up with, I say, over 20 kids, 20 boys. It was only 2 dads in the neighborhood out of my 20 homeboys, and both of those dads was on crack.
Damn.
So looking back, reflecting on all that, how do 20 young boys see a manly man?
Yeah, I get that, and that's far and few between. I totally understand that.
But that happened all over the U.S.
Right, that's our problem, and because of that, I think those 20 young boys grew up and they don't have nothing to see, because if they don't see, then they can't be. Right. A lot of times we have to see something we want to be, because you don't get it from everywhere. People don't talk like this every day.
Right.
So you looking for that role model. I grew up looking for that role model and whatnot, but I get that.
That's what I was gonna say.
That's why it's important that we got to stand up and take our place. That's why it's important that I think the black man has to know who he is, and live and move and walk with some kind of integrity, have an identity. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's what you bring. That's your essence. Right. That's what the black woman looking for. Right. I mean, she make her own money. She need a man who's a man. Right. Who's about something. Right. And I think it start with us. How the way we roll and the way we deal. When we say this, that, and the other, that's what it's going to be. Right. And just carrying that about you, because and I don't want to take it to the church and that. I come from a spiritual era. When God made man, he made man. We the head, and that's who we are. Right. We ain't got to fight. We have that. We were born into that. Right. That's who we are. And when we stand up and own who we are and what we are, then that's what a woman looking for. She looking for that head. Right. She looking for that covering. She looking for that leadership. Right. She looking for that love. She looking for a guy who ain't intimidated by her success, who can celebrate her. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to just put my little 2 cents in. I'm going to hang up and keep listening.
All right, we appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for calling, Lottie.
But on that note, I got to, just thinking about it, as a boy growing into an adult, you look at what age do, just on the average, just thinking about now, do a man become a man? Mm-hmm. I think it take a little longer to figure out as an adult when you feel like you are a man, not just the age, but the actions.
The actual
right.
stepping into the manhood. Right.
Your character.
Because you got some 37-year-old, some 39-year-old boys, and, or some 40, 50-year-old boys.
But I think now, since everything that happened in our community is even taking longer, or it's just a lot more of grown boys. So with all, like you said, not to talk about the crack era, but that has affected. And you think of, that era had babies.
Right.
So if they fathers wasn't in their life,
You
that
can't
mean
dismiss the
you
effect
can't-
of it.
Yeah, it gonna keep on. The cycle keep going.
Right.
So we probably don't have another 2 generations of.
Right. And then just imagine if it's taking you longer to mature and to grow up.
Right.
Chances are I done caught you on a slip. You got a record now. Chances are your credit might not been impacted. You know, we done impacted your credit.
Right.
So I mean, it's a systematic thing that I think
Right.
happened to us.
Right.
But how do we get back from that? You know,
That's the
part. And hopefully, I think what we're doing tonight and not just allowing this conversation to stop here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna ask everybody that's watching if you can like and share this show tonight. Subscribe to DISCO100 Radio, because we'll be back, and this will be a conversation that I think that we should pick up from time to time. We'll talk about different things every week, but this conversation, I think, as a whole, is going to be one that benefits us as a whole, you know, because some of the other things we might get into might not be your thing, you know. But tonight, I think that as a community, the things that we've discussed tonight affects us all. Right. Because without a strong family foundation, you don't have a strong community. Right. You know, and if we're not talking about identity, you know, and then you know, to the young brothers, the muse that they gave you to imitate is a clown. You know, it's a clown. It's not a real man that go and make his money and take it and throw it on the ground. It's not a real man that don't have relationship with his kids. It's not a real man that's irresponsible and all over the place with himself and can't establish anything. That don't belong to you.
Right.
Those are like things that come with manhood. So the sooner you really man up and the sooner we create that accountability, which is one of the things I think, you know, this conversation is beginning of, because this is things like we talk about in the shop, you know, not just here in the shop. Take the conversation to the street. You know, share this podcast with somebody else. Maybe somebody else will grab something out of it. Maybe it'll change their life. Maybe it'll make them realize, you know what? You know, being the hot boy ain't where it's at. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I think that once we get to the place where our communities see marriages, successful marriages, thriving marriages, then you'll be in a place where they can desire that again. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because I used to tell the joke, like, whenever you see, I think my mic going out. Whenever you see, this was a joke though. You see the family pictures, look at the daddy, if it's one on there, and look how dried up he looked.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I'm not, you know, I'm talking about a full family where, you know, everybody is operating in, you know, the father's being the father, the mom's being the nurturer, and it's all working together. You know, those are the types of families we want to, you know, talk about constructing in the community. And in that way, we'll make our community stronger. We'll make our community better. Once again, I want to thank everybody for coming in with us tonight. I want to thank these two guys. I'm going to get them an opportunity to say their salutations and
appreciate the
invite everybody out to tell us something about the blueprint. Tell us about when you're on. How can we find you? Your social media, because these guys are really on it. They have been, you know, doing podcasts for some time ahead of us. So it's a lot of good content out there that you can go check out if you want to hear. So who want to take the mic on that?
Yeah, we're on Instagram at WeTheBlueprint.podcast. YouTube, We The Blueprint. You can look us up. We had Aaron on one day. Oh no, we had you on twice.
Twice, that's right.
Yeah, we had you on there twice. Good conversation. I'm Joel. That's my co-host Ant.
Yes, sir.
We'll probably shoot something tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow we'll shoot something.
I don't know when we'll be live right now. So I was about to say I don't know when it's going. Yeah, but we live. So okay. Yeah. So yeah, but as far as community, that's exactly what it's gonna take. And how much time we got left?
Y'all got 10 minutes.
Okay. I just wanted to comment on what Disco said. You know, when I was younger, although my father was present and he was really a mentor to a lot of the kids, because he also coached. And that's a big thing that You know, if you really got, you know, your kids in sports, you know, the coaches would, like my dad he spend an hour dropping kids off every night, you know.
Right.
If they weren't coming around, you know, if the grades weren't right, they might call the teacher, or, you know, and this before emails and social media. So you was going the long route about trying to make sure that everybody was doing okay. Wow. Now, when I got older, the coaches I looked up to, and I'd be out seeing them cheat on their wives and all that, that's a different story. But that kind of hurt. But But when I was younger, you got a certain coaches, you know, might sit around and.
Right. So that's how you met your wife.
Okay.
So you was dropping the kids off, and right.
Hey, well, you got to.
Look at God.
Right.
Look at God.
That's it. Like you say, you got to look in the area where you are. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was your quarterback. Oh man.
Yeah.
Daddy ball.
So yeah, you know, the coaches, you know, teachers in the school, maybe people in the church, just different people that you see in the community that, for whatever reason, you know, it's always somebody that you see, and even if you don't have a relationship to them, you just kind of gravitate to them or want a relationship to them. Right. Sometimes just by the way they carry themselves.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Whether it be they got the nice car, or they dress nice, or, you know, seem likable, or maybe just take a minute to say something nice to you.
A sense of self.
Right.
Yeah.
When
you know yourself, you
right.
That's half the battle.
And I never thought that I would have ended up being a barber, but it made sense once I look back on my life, because the guys that I was actually in school with that would leave school and go to cut hair, you know, they was maybe a year or two older than me, but I really looked up to them because of the way that they, you know, they were really entrepreneurs at that time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, they had a nice car. They had the, you know, whatever the fresh sneakers coming out, they always had that
they jump right
little
in.
Gold chain or what, you know what I mean? But they were doing it in a legal way.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, when you see, you know, if you see a kid come up to you or whatever, take time to you know, talk to them, or you know, that's the worst thing, that, you know, somebody that see you or whatever, you chop them off, or they'll never forget that.
Right. Just ask questions. How I do, I just ask questions.
Right.
You know how I do in the barbershop.
First 48.
Yeah.
You know, it's the key thing you were saying. I remember back in the days growing up in Miami, the generation 30 years old, 35, we call them, you know, the neighborhood dope boys.
Right.
If they seen a young boy walking around and he wasn't in no sports, they ask the first thing they say is, "What you doing, little man? What you doing, you know, what you doing, nephew?" I want to play football, but my mama can't. They'll put him in the car,
Right.
take him to the park, and sign him up.
Yeah.
We don't have that no more.
Right.
And it costs $1 million to sign your kids up for stuff.
Yeah, that's
nowadays.
nothing. Yeah. You're right.
You ain't lying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was coming up, you had your little fee, and it was probably less than $100, maybe $25, $50.
Right.
And you got all the pads. The only thing you had to do, if you're playing baseball, you had to get a glove. And if you couldn't do that, one of the coaches would help you out and get you a glove.
Right.
And your cleats. That was it.
The little physical was about the biggest part of it.
That was it. You know what I mean? And even at that time, I don't think we was doing no fundraisers and all that type of stuff. You know, we were doing a whole lot of that. Yeah. Now it's $1 million, and they want you to go out.
$1,100 for what?
A whole nother conversation though. You had real mamas back then too though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave that where it's at.
Right. Yeah.
Well, you still got something out here.
Yeah.
Still got something out here.
Yeah.
I ain't saying there ain't nothing out there, but
You got the ones that can't afford their child to get a physical, but they help be done every game, and they got brand new shoes on every game, and
Right.
you can't get my son to the football field practice, but you be at the club every night, so you still got them too now.
Right.
Yeah, you got those out there too now.
Right.
Yeah, my dad used to drop them kids. I'd be like, "Dad, please drop me out first." He was like, "Nah."
Right.
Like all night driving around. Then you pull up to a house and it be the whole family there.
Right.
Like, dang, y'all can't come.
Right. What y'all doing standing in the yard?
I can see if somebody worked overnight or didn't have a car or
Cars
whatever.
all on
Right.
the grave.
Right.
Hey, look,
Exactly.
hey, I remember I took one kid home, man. I asked him how to get to the house. He told me how to get to the house, and I said, "Where I need to park at?" He said, "Right there by my mama's car."
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Nah. And your mama in the house? Right.
All right. Wow.
Nah.
He was a babysitter.
Was that it? You wanted to add anything?
No, that's it.
Okay. I just want to say too, thank the guys again for being here. We all are at All Star Barbershop in Ackworth, Georgia, 4974 Cowan Road. Pull up and holler at us. Tell us if you like the podcast. If you don't like us, you can pull up and tell us that too. Like and share. Also, I want to announce that we are at the shop doing a food drive. Speaking of community, we going to be trying to feed 3 families in our community over there. So we are accepting donations. You can drop by the shop and drop off canned foods. We are accepting cash donations if you want to send those too. And we will document and send all the information so you can see that, your help, whatever it is, made a difference. Also, I want to announce too, going back to community, in January, if you're in the Ackworth area, we're going to be starting a literacy program for young boys. Okay, we want the moms. We're not daycare, and we're not going to, babysit your kid. It's only going to be for an hour. You ain't got time to go to the mall. Just drop them off. We're going to read some books, make sure they know what words look like and what they sound like, and going to share with them. Just kind of make them, aware of literacy and just doing our part. Because like what I believe, again, and any brothers out there that's listening, if you want to sign up to come read to the kids, please do that. Please do that. Get over your image of yourself and come read to the kids, man.
Give me your information. How can I
right.
reach you?
You can reach me at my cell phone number, 404-227-9607. You can find us on Instagram at, what is it? Barbershop. Hold on one second. Let me get it. Yeah, I know it. I think it's underscore. No, it's not. Nah, it's Barbershop _ All Stars 2020. You can follow us there and you'll see updates there. You can go over to Community Core Inc. On IG, and there'll be also follow-up information there too. Again, the phone number is 404-227-9607. You can text in, hey, I want to help. How can I help? And we'll be glad to link you up and allow you to be a part of this process. Thank everybody for being here with us tonight. Again, Anthony Little, Joe Liner, these guys are the Blueprint. DISCO100 Radio, J.Gerrard Show. Thank y'all for being here tonight. We'll see y'all next Tuesday.
I appreciate it.
All right.